Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us.
Dear Diary, today will be better. Today I will smile. Today I will not think about killing myself, even though I'm just in high school. Because today I met a vampire. His name is Stefan Salvatore.
Steven!
Hey guys! Happy spooky season. We're back with more vampires because we are fangbangers, although that is no longer the terminology. Forget everything we told you last week. Glamoring is compelling. There is no mainstreaming. These vampires are not known by people except by every single person in Mystic Falls who never tells anybody else. Good for them.
Makers don't matter anymore.
Yeah. Nope, makers don't matter anymore. They mean absolutely nothing, except when they do mean something. And 1 in a million times, there's a bond, except it only happens to Damon Salvatore.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say something that immediately gave away his house. Let me wait on that. What a kooky little town, Mystic Falls.
It is, Mystic Falls. Yep.
Hey, you're near have you ever gone?
It's not real.
But it's Virginia. Like, a lot of the places filmed and stuff, they have the restaurant, I think.
Yeah, no. That's Covington, Georgia. They filmed in Georgia.
I thought it was Virginia.
Mystic Falls is in Virginia. Mystic Falls is a fictional place.
I know it's a fictional place, but I thought they filmed it in Virginia, too.
They filmed in Georgia for the tax breaks and all that. Yeah.
Oh,
so we could go to, like, you can go to Forks, Washington. We can go to Covington, Georgia, which is Mystic Falls. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone?
No, I haven't. I've seen TikToks of people who have gone, and who works there.
Bon Temps has like
tourist
Sam's
attractions.
Fucking Merlot's Diner.
Bob Tom's. Nobody saw that tweet.
Oh my god. Well, it doesn't get less insane from here, guys. Also, I'm sick. Sorry if you can hear that in my voice. It's kind of annoying. I'll make Lauren talk more, so you don't have to hear it. But this show's also batshit crazy, and it's just kind of a vampire thing, eh? Like,
yeah, Canadian. I love this show. I loved it when I was 16, and then I kind of abandoned it for Supernatural. Coming back to it, I loved it. I loved finishing it because some characters got to grow, and also, like Rachel was talking about with Buffy, some characters now that I'm older, I've seen in a new way, and they don't annoy me as much. Or I watched more and I got over it. Like when I was younger, I really did not like Bonnie. And that was my fault because I love Damon and she was like super crappy to Damon in like the early seasons. But then they grow to be besties. But I liked her before that happened. Like I like her even if she hates Damon, which she started to again at the very end of the show. So, and I was also a huge Delena. I mean, I still am a huge Delena shipper. But for that reason, at age 16, in the world of Twilight, it meant that you could not like the rival love interest, and I did not like Stefan. Very upset with him for getting in the way because you didn't know what was going to happen, right? Like there was the chance that she could end up with Stefan.
This show's really different from the other vampire love triangles because they force the two love interests to be like best other brothers.
Right?
So what are you supposed to do with that?
They're not rivals.
They're not rivals
personally. They're rivals in love. But they're not rivals personally. No. But
they are though. They're so weird about it.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. But that's kind of how the show ends, to be totally honest. Yeah. But while watching it live, like you didn't know what was going to happen, right? And Damon, these are based off of books, but Damon and Elena are never even close to getting together in the books in the source material. So it was like a whole scary thing where I was like, I don't like Stefan because he's he might be an actual problem. Now that I know that's not the case, and also I think just being older and appreciating who Stefan is and how he feels and reacts to things, love him. So
yeah, he's
very
fun.
exciting. He's extremely funny in it.
In his house way.
Seeing Paul Wesley also be Ripper Stefan and Humanity Turned Off Stefan and Silas Great actor, very funny man.
Lauren went and met them. She went to
I did on accident. They were across the street, so I went over there to see a friend, and I ended up working at the convention. And I met Ian Somerhalder and
lived
Paul
out her
Wesley.
16-year-old
Candace King was there too. So was what's his name? Tyler? No, his name's not Tyler. No, Michael Trevino, who plays Tyler Lockwood. He was there too, and a bunch of people from the other shows that I have not seen. Again, we'll never watch Legacies, but I have been really, really having to force myself not to turn on the originals because I know we're going to force the originals because we really loved Elisha and Klaus.
I really like that
and
family.
I want that. I don't want to. I'll have to watch it when we're closer to doing that. So, yes, Michelson family.
I love the Michelsons.
Michaelson. I think it's Michelson because they're Michael's
I'm
son.
not saying that. It's their dad's name. That's weird.
This show is also batshit in that the beginning of vampires was only like 2,000 years ago, and they were white people. Okay, sure.
Okay. I don't understand 2,000 years. Like, I don't get. So
you're telling
lore.
me the oldest vampire on Earth in TVD is younger than Eric Northman, or barely older.
I'm very much a Twilight girly, but in the way of like I'm really harsh on it too because it's so fucking ridiculous all the time. But like you're making Twilight lore better than your lore, and that's annoying. Like you should strive to do better.
Be better. Although Damon Salvatore was a Confederate in the Confederate Army.
Again.
Although this show makes it very clear that he did not like being there, and he only did it to please his father, who was abusive to him.
Not like Bill Compton.
No, not like Bill Compton, who was like, let's go kill some Americans.
I can't stand Bill Compton. He's so funny. Oh my god! And Jasper Whitlock, ma'am. I'm a soldier. I'm here to help, man. Yeah, not the black people though. You fucking dillweed.
No, he just became a vampire and like used the war to kill all of them. So
anyway, weird. What? Like there were other wars. Authors.
There were other wars. I know
you could put vampires in other things.
The antebellum period is very like romantic. And vampires are romantic.
Though. Put them in Victorian settings or something.
I know. Enzo confused me because Damon said that he was captured from the war. So I was like, oh, he was turned during World War II. But then they were like, no, he was turned in the early 1900s. So he was a vampire who decided to fight in World War, which I guess good for him. Like, thanks, Enzo, for fighting in World War II.
Yeah. I don't know. Anne Rice got it right. She put those bitches in France and made them gay. Like,
there you go.
There was no reason for them to be fighting for the South. But anyway, yeah, Damon was a good boy and he left and his bitch father was like, you're an embarrassment.
He deserted because Stefan, Rachel didn't see this stuff, but Stefan lost his virginity to a girl who then ditched him and never showed up again. So he wrote to Damon like, I'm very sad and mom is dead and this girl abandoned me and I feel like the world has ended. And Damon was like, listen, I got to go home before my brother kills himself. and they didn't let him. So he deserted.
Feelings? I got to go.
Yes. He was like, the one person in the world I care about is sad. And that makes me sad. Weird. So I got to get out of here.
I tried, guys. Like I tried to get to the end. I did. I couldn't do it. It got, I don't know how Lauren did it. It got so difficult. Once it was like, you got Damon and Elena, got all this shit going on. Like, it just started getting crazier and crazier. Like, once, who was the guy that Stefan was? He was the same. What was his name? What's his name? Silas. When Stefan was Silas, I started to really just lose my shit. I was like, I've had enough.
Stefan's not
enough
Silas.
Of your fucking
Paul
doppelgangers.
Wesley was also.
You know what I mean? I'm glad you understand what I mean. Good. I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, this is getting fucking redonkulous.
Silas.
Why does Jeremy keep coming back? And why is Matt Donovan still alive?
He left when Elena left, so you would have enjoyed that probably.
I got tired of his bitch ass. Let me tell you.
He did get tired. He told Elena he was going to art school before she like went to sleep because she wanted him to get away from everything. So he was like, fine, I'm going to art school. Like, you don't have to worry about me. And then his bitch ass went off to kill more vampires. I
didn't even sort him until just now.
Yeah. No, you knew what house he was.
I didn't.
Stephen McQueen left the show because he went to be on Chicago Fire. But
is that Jeremy's actor?
Yes.
Oh, I heard that was a good show though. Like that show has a lot of fans. Good for him. I have a very different relationship with the show than Lauren did. I started watching it when I started dating my now husband. We were like looking for something. It was still on the air, but Netflix had the first 2 seasons. So we watched them. And no, sorry, I saw all the way up to whenever they turned Elaine into a vampire. It was the end of season 3, I think.
Yeah.
And then we just never picked it back up, and I never saw what happened after that, and I really like lost interest in it because I too was sucked into Supernatural like full time. And I just like stopped caring about other shows. But I had a lot of the same feelings where there were characters I did not like on my first watch that now I really came out of it feeling like I pretty much like everybody. Like even when they started to annoy me, I still was like, nah, keep them on though. Like don't kill anybody off. I enjoy them. The biggest difference for me was, well, one, that I hated Matt Donovan this time around. I don't even remember him the first time. But the second time I was like, you shouldn't be alive anymore.
And Wesley is right for his vendetta.
The first time around, I hated Caroline. Like, hated Caroline. And this time around it was fine. I didn't have any, I was like, okay, do you, girl? You, like, everybody on the show has weird problems. All right.
When we go back and sort Caroline, Rachel, I really need, there's something. So Rachel, where did you, you didn't make it to the end of season 6, did you?
No, almost.
Mm-hmm. So Caroline gets pregnant.
Okay.
With the Lark's twins.
So, so I know some of this. I've seen some things.
And I really need you to watch it for the purposes of sorting her when we do that later on.
Well, we've agreed on her house.
Yes, but it's very clear. I think that's the clearest it makes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she's like ride or die for her babies, her weird fucking babies.
But they're not her babies. And she's like, I can't say any. I'm going to give it away. But yeah.
Well, you could tell me what happens.
I'm going to use buzzwords that's going to give it away.
Oh. I try not to use buzzwords.
There's literally no, she says there's.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me after.
Okay.
Yeah. Caroline was the one that I struggled with the most the first time around, and then struggled with sorting the most on the entire show. The whole show, everybody was like,
yes. Fine. I almost thought she was going to have the same trouble with Rebecca and Klaus, and then something happened where her brain snapped. She was
no, they were fine. Because you know what it was? When they were in their villain era, like just villain era, you're not seeing a lot of their, like, who they actually are.
Right.
You're just seeing them threaten and maim and murder.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Klaus becomes like a psycho for Caroline, and Rebecca becomes a psycho for Matt Donovan, and they both get really weird and emotional, and their personalities come out, and I'm like, oh, okay. Caroline is weird.
Yeah.
She's weird. It took me a minute. It took me and it wasn't even, it's funny, like sometimes in the past 3 years, whenever Lauren and I have disagreed, which is like really rare, I'm usually like arguing for my, like I'm pleading my case.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, I was just like, it's not that I'm telling you I think you're wrong. It's that I don't understand how you could ever possibly be right. It is not clicking for me. And then I forget, we had a conversation where we compared her to another character, and I was like, and it's the only other character in existence that we could use. And then it all made sense. But she's very strange. So if you're a Vampire Diaries fan and you like to sort, keep that in mind when you think about Caroline, because we're not sorting her today publicly.
No. We have sorted everybody, but we are only focusing on the main 3 today.
Yeah.
We're not even doing Catherine. You don't need us to tell you what Catherine is.
Oh, please. The walking flag of her house.
We'll do her later, but you don't need us to tell you. We
might as well just say what it is.
Why? I want to talk about her.
Fine. Lauren likes Catherine. I don't.
I think she's funny. I admire her. I don't know if I admire her. She's got it all figured out. She's got it.
Oh, we have very different opinions. I don't think she has shit figured out. And I don't think there's anything to admire, and I think she's a pick-me, quite frankly. But
wow.
fine.
She doesn't have to be a pick-me. They pick her before she asks.
Yeah, it's all a lie and manipulation. She's just a pick-me.
Dude,
she's just a fucking pick-me. I'm sorry.
I told you, I don't know if we're going to talk about this again, and I can't remember now if you came over to my side, but I told you I don't think Stefan ever actually loved her. And I think at one point you were like, no, he did at one point. I don't think he ever did. I think it was all compulsion.
Yeah, but then when she's like dying, he's the one that's there for her.
That's his thing. That's just his thing that he would do because he has to take every chance he can to be a good person because he's constantly in his head.
Makes me really sad for her, though, so I don't want to agree with you.
What do you mean that it is sad for her? Nobody actually
loves him.
No, nobody actually loves her.
Well, her daughter loves her, but she was a bitch to her, too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catherine had a difficult life, but Catherine also made her life more difficult. So she was hard for me to sympathize with. But I mean, she's funny as shit.
Elijah would have loved her if she had just stopped playing around.
He totally would have. Yeah. Elijah just had such a thing for that face.
Yes.
Through the year, no matter what it was, no matter who it was attached to. Fucking Amara, I was like, okay, Supernatural. Meanwhile, they did it first on the Vampire Diaries. Man, a round of applause for Nina Dobrev, though. You knew exactly who she was at all times. There were actually moments where me and George were watching, and I was like, oh, it's Catherine pretending to be Elena. Oh, my God. And we were just like, oh, shit, you're right. She just did these little subtle switches. She was so very good.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's she wasn't like giving it away. She was doing it for the audience. Like I could clearly see how she was fooling the guys or like fooling the people around her. Yeah.
She's a good actress, man.
Mm-hmm. I miss her.
I know. It's a shame, like, how that all went down. But I think they gave their fans the finale that most shows would like to have. Yep. And I think I've talked about it before publicly, how I feel about finales. Nice I don't think most shows know how to wrap.
Did you watch the finale?
And I watched parts of it.
Okay.
Like, I saw her running up to her parents, and I saw that her and
Stefan Lexi's there waiting for him.
It's just... That's his platonic soulmate.
I know. I love their relationship. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I was telling Lauren, there are people that straight up hate Damon just because of Lexi. Like, they love Lexi so much that they weren't even able to continue the show, and they hate Damon to this day. Damon has a lot of hate online.
I know.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, man. He's not a good person.
No idea.
When I tweeted, because Rachel and I have talked about this before, when we're like, everybody like wants the bad vampire. They want to like excuse what the bad vampires are doing. Like, no, they're bad people. They're vampires and they're evil. Just like them anyway. Like, don't be ashamed. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets the Spike treatment, like, big time. And it's not just, some of it's deserved. Looks like with Spike, some of it's deserved. But overall, I don't see how you can't like him at all. Like, his personality is very, he's just very funny and like very likable. So I don't know. I can see sometimes being annoyed by him. Don't get me wrong. He can fucking grind your gears, sure. But like the level of hate, and I think it's also because of the love triangle thing. I think, like, you know,
well, yeah,
Stelena people,
and because he's like mean to Stefan, and people really like Stefan. But like, really, there's a whole, I know, and there's a whole. I mean, we're gonna get into this when we talk about both Stefan and Damon, right? But it's like, Stefan forced Damon to become a vampire. Like, Damon was ready to die when he found out that Catherine wasn't around anymore. So Stefan forced him, and then Damon was like, okay, bro, I'm going to give you a life of misery. And like, he promised him, and he didn't back down from that promise. Like, he let him know. He said what he said. Like, and Stefan's like, man, why don't you ever forgive me? And Damon's like, I said what I said. Like, what?
I actually think we should start with Stefan, because all this is his fault. It all starts with him. Stefan, to me, it's so funny.
Damon is
I could not have cared less about Stefan on my first watch.
So that was like a whole thing at the end of the show when like they had to wrap up or whatever. Is like Damon had to finally like officially forgive him for that, because it was like, because Stefan was like, everything that you've done, I've essentially done because I made you. And Damon was like, okay, you're human now. You've got to let that, like, we've got to let that one go. You can't ever atone for all that shit because I've done a lot and I take responsibility for that. But
yeah, I mean, listen, Damon is very dramatic and very impulsive and quite frankly very ridiculous
and extremely selfish, which he says about himself so many times.
Yes, but he also makes a lot of sense. Yes. So if he's telling you to move past it, you should really move past it. But Stefan is just really funny because what I was saying, I really didn't care about him the first time around, like at all. I thought he was kind of boring. I was like,
I can see that. And
I guess it's because I didn't get very far in the series because you get to that Ripper shit, you know, and the emotion switch comes off. He's a whole new kind of funny. This time around, like he was like top 3. He's so fucking funny, so funny from the moment he's like meets Elena and all the little friends and is on like the football team for a second. Like he's so funny. But it all starts because of Catherine, really. And Lauren doesn't think that Stefan ever actually was in love with Catherine.
I believe him when he's like, he becomes a vampire and like you can no longer be compelled when you're a vampire, so you remember everything. And he tells Damon, he tells everybody, and he never like wavers from it in private or whatever. He was like, I was compelled to feel the way I felt about Catherine. And I believe, I don't think that he wasn't attracted to her. Like she was this mysterious hot girl that like showed up.
He did care about her.
I think he cared about her, but I don't think she was like this. Like they like to use him and Lexi are like epic. I don't think like Elena was his like epic love that he like chose and he developed feelings for her on his own. I believe him when he's like, I wouldn't have loved Catherine if it wasn't for her.
Maybe it's that he loved the idea of Catherine, and then when it came out,
I mean, yeah, maybe because yeah, because Catherine didn't tell him about the vampire shit. She told Damon. She didn't tell him. So,
yeah. Well, Elena should have listened to Catherine. Catherine was right when she said you can love them both. It's fine. I really was hoping actually for like some sort of throuple ending, but
you want the brothers?
We're never going to get that on cable television. Yeah. But it was like best case scenario because the more I was I really wanted to see Delena. Like I really wanted to see that. That was the ship that I'm interested in most of all. But the way Stefan loves her, it's hard to not root for.
Yeah,
it's hard to not want her with him sometimes.
And when
though I still want her with Damon, but
in season 4 when she was pulling away from Stefan and going to Damon, I was like missing Stelena. I was like, oh, like they
weird.
They do work really well together, and like there's no reason that they shouldn't.
Because at first I was thinking like, oh, it's like high school popular, it's cute, whatever. But it was so much more. It was so much more. And then
even when Elena like is like, I'm in love with Damon, she credits Stefan for like saving her. Like he pulled her out of the depression. And she still gets jealous of Stefan doing things with other women and like not paying attention to her. She doesn't like it. She wants their attention on her. Now, Catherine had the balls to admit it. I want both of them, right? But she wanted one more than the other. She did. She really wasn't that interested in Damon. Like, she was interested in playing with Damon. Yes.
But she loved Stefan. Elena, I think, loves both of them. And it's like, it's hard. I don't know. They should have both got her at the end.
Yeah, I know. And you can tell that Stefan... So Stefan's a Ravenclaw, so I guess we can start saying that and talk about Stefan or whatever. But there is a moment where Stefan eventually ends up with Caroline, and there is a moment where Damon is like, do you think you can feel the same way about Caroline that you have felt for Elena, because you know that you like loved Elena? And at first Stefan says no. He goes back and says yes, and I'm not totally sure that I believe him. Yeah. That's what I was talking about when I was like, it feels really forced. I think they needed something to do with him. I think Caroline really loves him because, like I told you how it ends. Like here's a Ravenclaw thing for Stefan. So Caroline's mother dies, and Stefan is being kind of like, I'm not totally sure how I feel about you, and if it's like love, or if it's just kind of like a fleeting thing or whatever. So Caroline, grief stricken, a little bit manipulative of her, goes, can you tell me how you really feel about me? And if you don't feel the same way, I'm probably going to flip my switch because I can't really deal with everything right now. And Stefan says, I can't tell you that I love you. And then her flip switches, and then Stefan is like, no. I think actually that it could be or whatever, but it's too late at that point. It's very dramatic. But I do not think, like I said, man, I think Elena was his epic love. There's moments after Elena is asleep, where it's like you would expect from past experience with Stefan, which we'll talk about too, because it's very Ravenclaw of him when like Damon dies and how he reacts. And but you would think that like once he's like, okay, it's over with Elena, that he would kind of do that Ravenclaw thing where he's able to drop it, and he cannot. Yeah. He thinks that she's died, like died, and he's ready to. And Damon is the one who thinks that he did it, and Stefan's like, I'm literally gonna kill. He's so upset with him. And he's not doing it in the way that he usually does, where he's like, I'll take care of Damon, and then he doesn't do shit, even though Damon's just murdered like 12 people. He's like for real gonna kill Damon for killing Elena. So he's got it's a little bit of that Ravenclaw Gryffindor overlap where it's like
he's weirdly Gryffindor presenting.
Yeah,
like it's strange how it's a little bit, maybe a little bit like Angel sometimes from Buffy. Now, I'm biased about that because I think that Paul Wesley looks like David Boreanaz.
I can see it. They've got the same eyebrows.
Like, it bothers me.
The eye. Yeah. Like the eye
But
area.
he looks like, to me, like if David Boreanaz and Justin Bieber had a child.
Okay.
That's Paul Wesley.
All right.
But I think he has a little bit.
We should tell him that on his close
Angel
friends.
and him. Yeah, really, we should. That's what it reminded me of, where it was like, okay, so you don't love me. I understand that. I can just watch from afar and like be okay and love you from afar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been like a weird Gryffindor thing, like Gryffindor vampiric thing. I don't know why. Because couldn't be me. It must be the men. Couldn't be me. I have to just delete you. But he's like very, very much. Lauren pointed out to me earlier, there's this Gryffindor Ravenclaw overlap with like the first face I saw, right? Or the first face that I fell in love with. And obviously Stefan's really into the face, okay?
Yeah, that's why he sticks around. Because he's like, you look Elena, like Catherine, are you evil?
Yes, but Elena's the like non-evil version of it. And it's the face that he already had feelings for, so it was easy for him to really fall in love with her. And I guess it is a Ravenclaw thing, and they love weird and hard, like they don't get over it.
And I was gonna say, but like different from Gryffindor, like I don't think he's, and because it's Damon too, like he's not resentful. I think if Elena was like, I want to come back to you, he'd like in a heartbeat he would take it. But he's also like very cool and chill with like, I just want you in my life.
Yes, and to get the truth, like that's another thing of his house, like. Mm-hmm. Absolutely needing you to not lie about, like, admit that you're into Damon, admit that it's there. And Stefan saw it before Elena saw it in herself.
Yeah.
So he's always been, like, wary of it and, like, waiting for it.
The only time he was mad about it is when they figured out that it was the, what did they fucking call it? When she was,
oh, not compulsion.
No.
When she's, like, under his
bonded.
Weird spell.
Yeah, bonded or whatever. Yeah.
Sired.
With the assignment. Sired. Yeah, sired. It was sired. Yeah. When they thought she was sired. So when they were like, the only reason that you have feelings for Damon is like
he was so happy.
He was very happy that was the case, and he was also
yes, I'm gonna prove
but
it.
He was also like pissed about that.
Yeah.
Like he was like, we have to break the sire bond. Like he was like, that's not right.
Because of Elena's house, I have to tell you though, as much as that annoyed me, that whole thing, and I'm not going to say Elena's house yet, but because of it, I don't think she would have actually gotten with Damon on principle without it. So I'm kind of glad. Like I was annoyed by it, but then I was thinking about it. I was like, she wouldn't have done it on her own.
But then we talked about this because of Damon's house. That then becomes a roadblock when they find out what's happening on his end. Stefan's
Ravenclaw ass was like, we're going to figure this out.
Yep,
I'm going to prove it to you.
From the beginning, like Rachel. So he's back at Mystic Falls because he comes back every few years or whatever. And Elena is drowning in the river with her parents, and he saves her, and she looks like Catherine. So he sticks around watching her from the trees, and like picks the and once he realizes that she's like nice and compassionate and like gentle and sad, he's like, okay, I'm going to integrate myself into her life. And they fall in love fairly immediately. And it's not a Bill Sookie scenario where it's like, did Sookie ever actually love Bill? It's like they genuinely do fall in love. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything other than like he had been which is creepy, but not in vampire terms. So like he had been watching her, and and they and I mean, like we said earlier, I really really like their relationship. I could have watched a show of just their relationship if Damon didn't exist at all. Like I would have loved it. But they only last for about 3 seasons, and then Stefan flips a switch for the first time, and Ravenclaw Stefan without his humanity is
my other angel overlap. Though.
Yeah, a little. He Stefan is what they call a ripper, which means that he feeds so aggressively that the heads of his victims fall off because he like severs their neck. But Stefan, his calling card, how Damon always knows that is somebody that Stefan has killed, is because after their head falls off, he feels so guilty about what he's done that he puts them back together. Because Stefan's system is that if I do something wrong, then there must be atonement. You know? Like it's somewhat of it's almost like a Nancy
suffering.
Drew truth thing. Yeah, it's like conscious suffering. I told Rachel at some point that I think Stefan is just like a Ravenclaw Edward Cullen. So
I'm telling you, the weird Gryffindor vampire overlap with this character is very strange, and I can see why someone would think he's a Gryffindor surface level.
Right. Yes, but he's not Edward Cullen like constantly thinking about it and punishing himself in his head.
No.
He's literally like logically like, okay, here's a bad thing. I have now done a good thing. They are canceled out. Those two things. Like that's
he's
literally
able to go on.
He's not thinking about it in his head constantly, like punishing himself with his own thoughts. He's just he's like regular, I'm Stefan Salvatore, but it's like there's a chance to do a good thing, and I got to do it because I've done these bad things.
And he will always do the right thing after. Yeah. Always do the good thing after. It's almost Catholic. Like, it's so, I sinned, I atone. I sinned, I atone. Yep. Over and over and over. Even we were just talking about when Catherine died, like, he didn't give a shit about her anymore. He was constantly like, we should kill her. Like, at a certain point, he really fucking hated her. But when it came down to it, when she was suffering, he couldn't bear to watch it. Yep. And he had to step in and, and it's atonement for what he's done. It is very self-centered.
Yeah.
Whereas a Gryffindor will just punish themselves. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many good things we do after.
I mean, Stefan is a ferocious diary user. So I think he also gets it out there. Like there's a point where someone else is in Stefan's body, so Damon gives them his diary to read so they can learn about him or whatever. And so Paul Wesley is reading it as this other guy who looks and sounds like Stefan, and he's very dramatically reading the diary entry, and it's very funny. He's very dramatic in his diaries. But they're not just he's not upset like Damon, and everybody else is fucking reading him all the time. And he's like, yeah, see how I feel? He's not upset that people are intruding.
See, I'm glad you brought that up because that was so weird to me. I was like, this would fucking bother me.
Yeah. And he's got a library of diaries people can just go check out at any point of time in his life.
I'm telling you,
see what I did.
I'm actually brought that up to George.
Really?
So I was like, this man's a Ravenclaw, and I understand this as a Gryffindor because I personally, this would drive me fucking insane. I wouldn't even I've never kept one because I was so scared of people knowing my thoughts. Yeah. And I said to George, I was like, wouldn't it bother you? And he's like, no, you should read my thoughts. You know everything I'm thinking all the time. And I'm like, whoa!
No, I think it's his way of getting rid of his feelings, but also almost justifying himself. Here's exactly what I was, and it's almost like his fucking list too, where he writes down the name of everybody he murders, right? Where he's like, look, I did feel bad. Right? He's like, look at this. Look, I'm not bad. I'm just I do bad things and I'm working to make them better. He his and also Stefan's thing is that really and truly the only person in the world that he really, really cares about is Damon, right? He forces Damon to become a vampire because he doesn't want to be alone. And then he is alone technically because Damon is like, I'm not fucking hanging around with you. So, and when he does hang around with him, he makes his life fucking miserable to the point where Stefan is like, okay, go away. But he never actually wants him to go away. When they first show up to Mystic Falls, and it's very clear cut that Stefan is good brother, Damon is bad brother.
Yes.
And this is when it was clear cut. Like, as it continues, that still is kind of the case. But when everybody hated Damon, like, it gets gray because people like hate him, but
really
they're best friends
gray.
with him.
Okay.
They hate him, but they're best friends with him. So it's like weird. But when it was very black and white at the beginning, and people were like, Damon has killed Vicky Donovan because he was bored. Damon has killed 12 people because he was bored. Like, Damon just like killed Lexi because he needed a scapegoat. They were like, Stefan, do something. And Stefan was like, oh, I will. I'm gonna stake him. And he does it.
but he's sitting there like fully convinced himself. Like, I hate Damon.
Yep.
Like, it would just be so good if Damon just died.
I never want to see Damon again. Yeah.
If he could just like do it himself, that would be great. Because like, I don't want to do it for some weird reason.
Right.
He just
exactly.
won't do it.
He did.
They'll be like, Stefan, please. He's murdering the entire cheerleading squad. And Stefan's like, oh, darn it. That pesky Damon. I'll handle it.
But then like when he's speaking to Damon, he's like taking every opportunity he can to moralize them. Their relationship and dynamic is so interesting because Damon is very clear on the fact that Stefan is the good brother and that Stefan would not be killing people if he like had any choice in the matter or whatever, but that he does feel guilty for the people he killed. So half the time Damon is reminding him of the people he killed because he's like, you know, hypocritical and also stop like moralizing me and like I want you to feel bad and feel awful. But then the other half of the time Damon's calling him like hero hair and like knows Stefan is the good guy and Stefan is taking every chance he can to like moralize him and is like, doesn't this make you feel something, Damon? Like, doesn't, you know, blah 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 blah. So they just have such an interesting dynamic. I love the two houses as brothers is so
they're weird.
So
yeah, I don't know that
good.
we've seen it before.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I wanted to bring that up in the sense that Damon does die once in this show, like dead. And the way that Stefan reacts to it is insane, Ravenclaw. He says he and Caroline are really good friends at that point, and Elena is still around, and Elena has just lost Damon. And Elena actually texts Stefan and goes, hey, would you be mad if I compelled myself to forget everything about your brother? And Stefan says, sure, go for it. And to everybody else, he doesn't even give them the courtesy of saying goodbye. He just straight up fucking ghosts them. He's like, I'm never responding to a text from any of you ever again.
That's insane.
These people who are really good friends but we've talked about like Britta Perry could like get up and walk away from the study group.
That was one of our first discoveries of Ravenclaws ever. Of our
where they're
them.
like, I could simply disappear and it would not affect me. And
nope.
So Elena goes after Stefan to like drag him back. And it's like, you cannot leave your friends. There are people that love you who are also like sad about Damon and that they want you there. And Stefan's like, nobody wants me there. Like, I don't have to be there. Like, I want to do my own thing. He's like, I do this every 30 years. What's the problem? And Elena's like, every 30 years you leave everybody you love? You're insane. And he's like, I don't.
Yeah, I am. No, he's like,
this is how you survive,
what's
Elena.
The big deal? Clinically fucking.
He literally moves to another town and gets a human girlfriend and is like, this is fine. Like, I don't have to talk to anybody again.
What's up with that? What?
Because he's like, that's how he's like, I have to start a new life. Like, he literally gets a new job and gets a girlfriend. And
okay. He's something else, man. Yeah, but look, it goes with the system, right? He spent his whole life making people suffer, so now whatever, you're a human, I guess the ultimate punishment, ultimate atonement is to just like live as a sad little human. Well, I can't think of any worse punishment than going from vampire to human, although many vampires
he dies.
Disagree.
So it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, that's the other thing. So when they first find out about the cure, he does want to take it, but then he's like, I don't deserve to take it, I think is what his thing was. And then they found out there's only one dose and that Elena should get it anyway, so whatever. But
right.
So So first of all, their mother shows back up, and their mother has done horrible, unspeakable things to them that I'll talk more about when we talk about Damon. But she died when Stefan was like 10. So Stefan remembers her as this like really great, loving woman, and kind of like almost his like model for like, I want to be good. My mother was a really good person or whatever. So she comes back after doing this horrible shit, and Stefan is like, not immediately like perhaps a Gryffindor would be if they were really attached to their mom, but like pretty easily is like, yes, I am willing to forgive you and I would like a relationship with you. So I thought that was pretty Ravenclaw of him, and he like tells her too, like you can work with Damon and he'll love you again. Like I've done so much bad shit to Damon and he still loves me and blah 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 blah. But then yeah, like Rachel said, at the end of the show, like 3 episodes left at the end of the show, he becomes human. So you see him as a human for those 3 episodes, and it's very like it's very atonement on speed, right? Because he doesn't have eternity anymore to make up for things. He's got like 60 or 70 human years. So he's like, I have to spend the rest of my human life atoning for things. He's like, I don't deserve you, Caroline, anymore. He's like, I'm not going to marry you. And then Caroline's like, no, I'll help you, like, atone for things. And then he's like, okay, I guess I can marry you. But then immediately after getting married, it's the finale, and Damon is ready to die to make sure that Catherine dies for good. And Stefan is like, no, I'm going to do it, and doesn't say goodbye to his wife. Because he's like,
so
if I do this one big, really, really good thing, then maybe I'll go to heaven. Because that whole season was about how like hell exists and all vampires go to hell and that shit. So he's kind of funny.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, just like, I don't know how to explain it. To differentiate him from a Gryffindor, he's not showboaty. He's not like overly emo. He's not like
not at all.
Overly broody. They make jokes.
I wouldn't be able like broody. Yeah. I was gonna say Damon makes jokes but only Damon is the one making the jokes only that like you're a tortured soul. So it's like almost a caricature. Yeah. I forgot something. So there's a girl who's now a vampire, but Stefan met her when she was a human, and they lost their virginity to each other, and he got her pregnant, and he didn't know, and a very bad man basically beat her around until the baby didn't exist anymore. And Damon Stefan didn't know any of this stuff. The girl tells him later, and she tells him who the vampire is, and it's their mom's boyfriend. So Damon has this plan, because the boyfriend has just come back from the dead too. So Damon has this plan to give his mom 6 months with the boyfriend and then kill him in a dramatic fashion because he wants his mom to feel happiness before he takes it away from her and makes her watch him. And Stefan hears about his child being murdered and is like, I'm going to kill this man immediately. And Damon and Stefan actually have a fight over whether he should last for 6 months or whether. But it was very like Ravenclaw of Stefan too to like learn this fact and be like, okay, that was the action. Now the consequence is going to happen, like the exact way that he does to himself.
It's so he's like I'm trying to imagine where we put him on our Ravenclaw scale, because he doesn't quite hit the Ripper serial killer Stefan does certainly hit the right side of the scale where it becomes like
he's like
I
early
am the
right.
law.
Yeah, I think he's like early right.
But the switch has to flip for him to do that. Natural, organic Stefan is not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's still early right, because he's definitely I am the law in terms of like, I think Damon can live, guys. Like, I don't think it's that bad. Like, and
it's quite frankly fucking ridiculous what he allows Damon to live. No, it is. He does allow Damon to live. And also the way he thinks about, like, it's not just when he ghosts everybody when Damon dies. When he and Caroline are dating, something happens to Stefan where he's like marked by a huntress. So he has to be on the run constantly or she'll show up and kill him. So he just decides that he's leaving Caroline and like doesn't let her come with him. He runs off with somebody else. So he just like leaves because it's for Caroline's own good. And then when he loses the mark, Caroline is about to marry Alaric, and she's not really in love with him, but it's like what works best for their family or whatever. So Stefan shows up and is like, hey, but I still love you. And you can tell
while he's fully like expecting Caroline to forgive him and like start up their relationship.
The audacity,
even though
brother.
Stefan had been going out with the fucking girl he ran away with, who is the girl who he was going to have the baby with. So
yeah, like, but he's not. God, I feel like I've told this story before with George, where we always talked about it. We were like, he once told me if we ever broke up, he would like, he's like, yeah, I'd still wear the wedding ring though.
right.
And like, I'd get like a tattoo to commemorate you. Like, no, sir, you're supposed to like let go of those things and like go
it's
meet
like
someone
they just
else.
put it on pause in their head, and then they want to press start whenever it's convenient for them.
Isn't
like,
that so fucking weird?
It is. It's
and
crazy.
I'm seeing that in your assessment of Stefan, where it's like, no, I understand it was. This was a bad moment, but why can we not just pick back up?
He and Damon do it consistently, right? Like they don't see each other for like decades, and then they show up, and they're exactly where they like their relationship is exactly the same.
Because look,
and it's because
it's true.
It's because Stefan can just press play, and it's because Damon's constantly thinking about it. He never stops.
Right. So it's true of some relationships and of some like adult friendships specifically, where like you can go months without talking to this person, and when you come back together, it's perfectly like it's back to where it was. Right. If you have like a great history, you have a great understanding of each other, whatever. But it's like, so how specific to a Ravenclaw for them to think that everyone operates that way, because they operate that way. Yes. So it goes back to the like, they could run off and be fine.
Yeah.
And come back to you whenever, because they can. And they really could just pick it up with you. Like, honestly, if Damon died and then like 100 years down the line, Elena and Stefan reconnected, Stefan would pick it right back up. He'd be
no, they would. And I was just thinking about too, actually. So when Stefan shows back up for Caroline, she's not there. It's Alaric who answers. And, Alaric is mad on Caroline's behalf because he does love Caroline. So he's like trying to explain to Stefan, like, you can't just pick up and leave and expect to come back. And like, this is how people feel. That's literally Stefan is like logically explaining back to him, like, this was for Caroline's own good. Like, Caroline would have been in danger. She has kids now. The kids would have been in danger. And then he was starting to get into why Caroline should not marry Alaric. And Alaric was, we haven't talked about Alaric's house, but Alaric was returning the same way. So Stefan had to like up the ante. He was like, well, who's sleeping in the second bedroom? Because somebody's sleeping there. He's like, are you sure Caroline even really wants to marry you? Or is it just like convenient?
So there's a lot of like really hardcore Stefan and Caroline shippers out there. Didn't expect that. They really like them together.
I believe it because I shipped it way back in season 2.
Did you really like it though, or were you just like, I don't want him with?
That's a really good question. It was probably I don't want him with Elena was probably the catalyst, and then it was like, who would Stefan be the best with? And I didn't think that he and Caroline would be. I wrote some Stairline fan fiction, so like it was enough for me to but once they actually initiated it, it felt very forced to me. Stefan is clearly like apprehensive about it, even when the storyline is like, no, he's totally in. I'm like, yeah. Stefan is fighting the storyline.
he's got the more I think about it, the more I like really do see the overlap you were talking about with Gryffindor, where it's like the first thing is the most important thing, because his connection to his brother, to Lexi, and to this doppelganger fucking face, unreal. Like it goes back to that all the time for him. Like he really does care about those three things. I'm going to say Elena because, it is Elena, even though it was based on the doppelganger face thing. And the fact they're like mystically connected, like the doppelgangers are supposed to find each other or whatever. I hated that storyline.
Oh, yeah. But they like disproved that. See, they were again using that to torture Damon with.
So weird. Yeah, it was to torture Damon. Tortured me, okay?
Maybe it was supposed to torture us too. So we'd be like, oh my God, are they not going to be together?
All they did this whole show was torture the Salvatore brothers. Bad.
Yep.
Real bad.
Which is nice that the ending of the show was all about forgiveness. Like from all corners, like Stefan getting forgiveness, Damon getting forgiveness. And then like the very last scene of the show is that Damon finally dies and Stefan is there waiting for him in heaven. Yeah. Much like Supernatural should have been, but they fucked up everything before that. So
right. It makes sense to me when you have two brothers with an incredible bond that the show should end, somewhat on them, right? Like, would have never bothered me about Supernatural if the final scene is and was Sam and Dean. It's the lead up, like you said. What the fuck are we doing leading up to that? Come on,
right. like TVD.
Vampire Diaries got it right.
No, they did. They had the ending was like a bit of like a montage or whatever, where it was like Damon and Elena are together and they live out their lives, and then they go to heaven. And I thought this would bother me, but it doesn't, because I know obviously they've lived their entire lives together. They're gonna be together in heaven, but like they break off Elena, and Elena sees her family again, and it's like about Elena and the people that she loves, and then obviously Damon sees his brother, and it's about Damon and the person that he loves, and it doesn't bother you that the love interest isn't there, because you know that they will be there because they were there previous to all that.
Yeah, and it's fine because so much of Elena's story is about her parents and the pain that came from losing them. So much of Stefan's story is about
Aunt Jenna. And even Jonathan Gilbert was fucking there, so her actual dad. So
was her mother there?
No, she wasn't. No, I'm sure she's in hell.
She went straight to fucking hell.
I'm sure she's in hell.
I mean, when you want to talk about like a devious bitch, she was unbelievable.
She was
worse than Rumpelstiltskin's wife.
I know, for real. I was like, well, like she did turn off her humanity for the entire time she was a vampire, but it was before she even became a vampire, where she was like, bye, husband.
So bad. And then randomly like confessing, I do love you. Forget that I said that though.
Right.
I do love you. Now watch me die in front of you. I'm gonna set myself on fire. You're insane, bro. Yeah, she was a demon for real.
Truly Catherine's descendant.
But speaking of Elena, I think we should go to Elena.
Yeah. We have spent quite a bit of time talking about Stefan.
We
truly do love him. Yes.
Yeah, really.
He really
interesting. Elena gets it because she never stopped loving him. But that's a symptom of her house.
Which truly is first person based.
Yeah. Boy. Does she ever have the I saw you first and I love you forever thing? Because
it's always going to be Stefan. She says that. She says that multiple times.
Hold on now.
Technically, it's not the first face she saw.
So now it's tricked her, I'm going to say her house, her little Gryffindor brain, into loving both of them equally. Because technically, she's been like glamored or whatever. What's it called on the show? Is it compelled?
Yeah.
She's been compelled, to think it was Stefan. And she's like, well, then it's only right that I love you
Well, she's
forever.
been compelled to not remember her meeting with Damon. So her meeting with Stefan was like
she
naturally first. And then she became a vampire. And Damon was like, are you sure? Because she was like, she literally says to him, maybe it would have been different if I had met you first. And Damon was like, awesome.
Dude, there's so many moments where she like quite literally says things that are just taglines of Gryffindor House, where she's just straight up like, no, everything is my fault and responsibility. Yep. Everything is my responsibility. Just let me die.
Especially related to Jeremy.
Especially. Yo, oh my God. Again, I have to give Nina Dobrev like so much credit. I cry over everything, but this showed a lot of sad moments that did not get me at all. I was like, oh, like for a lot of it was really sad. When she loses Jeremy and she has the whole breakdown in her house before she goes to set it on fire, it got me. I was a crying. She got me so bad. I felt it. Like I was like, oh, she has to die, because I was like, if it was me, I just would have to be set on fire. Like I'm not coming back from it, because it's a little bit like Dean and Sam. I think. Yeah. Like I don't think she ever really had to be Jeremy's mother figure, but I do think she was parentified to a certain degree. And
I think she parentified herself, because
she did.
She took on the response. Like Jenna was there, but Jenna was a grad student.
She parented Jenna.
She did. Jenna was a grad student, and she was pretty irresponsible. Like she was thrust into this or whatever. So like Elena came from it from like the angle of like I'm sure that Jeremy is feeling everything that I feel, but he's also younger than me.
Yeah. So I have to take care of him.
Right.
I have to.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that is also what she kind of like loved about, I think she loved this dynamic. It was interesting to her. Like it's interesting to me with Damon and Stefan, because Damon is older, right? He's 25. He's supposed to be like 25.
Something like that.
It's ridiculous. Their ages. Like as it goes on, it's like, okay.
Their age difference is like 7 years, which I didn't believe, but that's what the show showed us when they were children.
What I am to believe is that Stefan is the little brother, but
he is, yeah.
Like he's the one who takes care of Damon, or like it seems more like he's the caregiver because Damon seems so unstable at first. And I think Elena probably liked and related to that too, because her brother was also very unstable in the first season, at least the first season. I mean, it was just weed, Elena, but whatever.
I mean, well,
we were more dramatic.
I mean, and then he was, he got into bigger drugs with Vicky.
It's true.
And then he was fucking around with vampires. So,
but she is really, really understanding of everything that goes on. Like, constantly gives everybody second, third, fourth, fifth chances, which is very stereotypical.
She
of her
does.
house.
She, I can't. Her, like Bonnie and Caroline, her like best friends that she grew up or whatever, and Bonnie, both of them are fucking like coming at her when she starts dating Damon, and she just continues to she's like, hey, cut it out, but she like never judges them for it. She never is like resentful of them for making it harder on her.
It's that pesky emotional intelligence where you're like constantly going, I understand why you would feel that way.
No, she did, because people like to point out to her, like, Damon did this and this and this and this, and she's like, yeah, but I love him. Like, I can't stop that. I'm sorry. Like,
I know he did all these bad things. However, you did a lot of bad things. And everyone I've ever loved has done a lot of weird bad things. And it all keeps coming out. And I keep losing people. And then like, she does
bad
things.
Dead. And it's like, that's not acceptable. When Elena does bad things.
Oh, always. So I don't know what it is with the Gryffindor women who have to get the shit end of the stick with this shit. Like, Caroline and Bonnie can honestly shut the fuck up half the time with their shit on Elena, okay? It really pissed me off. The two of them, I grew to really like them individually as characters, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to Elena, they do not give her any grace.
And the thing that pissed me off the most with them is that after she became vampire, they were like, you're not the Elena that we know. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's Elena, but a vampire. She's the exact same person, but a vampire. Like, what do you mean?
It's exactly the same.
I know.
Except for so the switch turned off. And the whole switch turning off thing.
Well, no, but it was even before that, where they were like, Elena's losing her humanity. Like, she's not meant to be a vampire because she's such a compassionate, like, beautiful person or whatever.
Yeah, so what? Vampires can be that.
Yeah, meanwhile, fucking Elijah is like this beautiful gift of a flower of a person that you have in your presence.
I know, but they're like scared of him, and he beheads people who cross him, you know?
And Elena's like, I like Elijah, actually. Like, don't kill him.
Elena likes everyone. It's even down to fucking
except Catherine, who she wants to fucking kill. Who Catherine? Yeah, when she flips her humanity back on, and they're like, "You need to focus your emotion on one thing," and they're like, and Stefan was like, "I really thought that you were gonna focus on like compassion or something," and she's like, "No, I'm gonna kill fucking Catherine."
Yeah. She even tries with Catherine though. She even tries at the very end. She's like, I forgive you, like whatever. And Catherine's like, I don't need that shit. I'm not done yet. But Elena constantly. She tries how she tries.
And she does understand Catherine. Like after she learns all like the running from Klaus and like the doppelganger shit, and like she does come to the point where she's like where she gets that emotional intelligence for Catherine. And I think that is at the point where she's like, I understand you and the shit that you've gone through, so I could forgive you.
You die
if
like
you make an effort. And Catherine is like, absolutely not. So
She's like, fine, then die. We can say that Catherine and Elena are not in the same house. We won't say Catherine's house, but they're not the same house. And you see it really, really well when her emotions turn off, because when Elena's emotions turn off, it's really Gryffindor. That can happen to a Gryffindor human. Like, if they are traumatized enough, like they lost everybody, and or just even like, just imagine there's a Gryffindor that's done with you. That's pretty much it. Like, I really don't care anymore. And like, but this isn't you. It is. So sorry. It really is. I've been a really good person, and now I'm really tired of it. And you're boring and annoying. So go away. Never speak to me again. Let me go to France or wherever the fuck, and just leave me alone. Like, she just wanted to not be bothered. And they keep like tying her up to chairs. And they're like, Elena, no, you're a sweetheart. You have to get your compassion back.
Again.
And she's like,
your feelings about Jeremy.
Stop. Leave me alone. I'm tired of feeling shit. You guys are really fucking annoying. But, you know, she's like killing cheerleaders on the school bus. and like really.
To be fair, she's doing that because they won't leave her alone. She was like, "If you leave me alone, I will not kill anybody."
and it took being pushed to the point of her switch being turned off to really be a bitch to Bonnie and Caroline.
Yes,
it took that, which it does. It really does for my house. It really takes me. It takes me and all of us to get us to the point of literally flipping an emotional switch for you, like an ex or whatever. Like no longer care. All the feelings are gone.
She was kind of funny because she does get a little, I guess, angel too, because she flips her switch, so she no longer has the sire bond. It turns the sire bond off or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she's like telling Damon, like, I no longer have feelings for you. Like, you can't tell me what to do because I never had feelings for you. They were just the bond, so there's nothing there, and I don't feel anything anyway. And Damon believes her, and like Damon looks away, and you can see Elena being like,
yeah. Oh, I wanted to say that about Stefan too. Stefan had that too. Stefan had that too. Yes, with Elena.
He did. Oh, well, he resisted.
He did. He resisted. He had it.
Yeah, Klaus was like, "Wow, I've never seen that before." Anyway, stop it.
Yeah, and then he got knock it off. But it was a little bit like I remember telling. I don't know if we talked about it during the Buffy episode, but I was telling Lauren, like, I always had people that would tell me that Angelus didn't love Buffy. Like, obviously, he's like ready to nail a puppy to her door, and the whole thing is trying to kill her. It's because he was in love with her, and like the demon couldn't handle it. Yep. And I think it was the same for Stefan. Like, he was still really in love with Elena, even with the feeling off. But like,
even like he resisted, and then when he actually when they actually were off, he stayed as far away from Elena as he possibly could.
Yeah.
Actually, that's something to mention too, because his switch was flipped briefly at the end of season 8 when he was with Caroline, engaged to Caroline. And she did not affect him in that way.
Right.
He actually he goaded her into throwing the engagement ring back at him, and then he like went around making jokes about his ex-fiance that were really funny. So I don't know.
I may have to watch some of these scenes. So the really funnily like Gryffindor thing that happens with Elena is how they get her to turn the switch back on. They just use her first childhood friend. That's it. Bingo! Like, I swear to God,
they fake
ever
kill him.
Since I always have said on this show, and just to Lauren, we have a thing about the first person. We have a thing about the childhood, whatever. And ever since I remember what Matt Smith's doctor said, who's a Gryffindor, was like, why do you love Amy so much? It's the first face this face saw.
Right.
That's going to be like my go-to line forever now. I can't get it out of my head. Matt is that to Elena. I can't stand Matt.
Yeah.
But Elena loves him dearly.
You reminded me, I was going to say this about Stefan, but I can use it for Elena too. So the reason that Elena becomes a vampire is because Rebecca runs her and Matt Donovan off the bridge and they're drowning or whatever. So Stefan goes down there to save him again.
That whole thing
and
too.
Elena tells him to save Matt, and Stefan listens, which is Slytherin and a Gryffindor. Hufflepuff, I think, could be a toss-up, but Gryffindor, Slytherin would never do.
Not a million the person that you love years, bro.
Is like, save my best friend instead of me.
Him.
Stefan does it because he's like, Elena would have hated me if Matt had died.
Yeah, he laid out a very logical option.
Yes, Damon would have been like, she fucking hate me the rest of my life. I don't give a shit. She's alive to hate me.
Then hate me.
She's alive to hate me. But Elena died with Damon's blood in her system, but she became a vampire. But also the fact that Elena asked for Matt to be saved is very Gryffindor. Yeah. Also, she probably like wasn't thinking about it because you're drowning, like you're not really, but she knew that she had vampire blood in her system. And that's the thing too that makes Elena so Gryffindor. It's different from Sookie in that like Sookie was special and she was like, I hate these powers, I don't want this responsibility, I don't belong, get rid of it. Elena never wanted to be a vampire. Even like Stefan had a very like long like in-depth conversation, emotional conversation with her about like, we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together, like, would you be turned for me, and that sort of thing. And Elena was just like, I just don't feel like it's a fit for me. Like, I just don't, I want to have children. I want to like, it's just not the life I want to have. So she, became a thing that she really didn't want to be for her Matt Donovan.
It's not a Sookie prejudice thing. Sookie really others those creatures. Elena really loves vampires. Like, she really does. She wants to give them all a chance, and she wants them all to live and like to have that right to live. And And I don't think it's that she would.
It's just not.
It wasn't like she was going to loathe herself for it. It's just that she would have mourned what she would have lost.
And she was also just like, when she was a vampire, she was like, "This is hard." Like, basically, I didn't want this responsibility of being a vampire.
Yeah, she only wants the responsibilities that she feels really guilty about, like Jeremy. But like oh my God, how she fucking coddles everybody. Like, she gives Damon so many chances to the point where Damon, like, what was it, season 5, where he's just like, enough. Stop giving me chances, dude.
I mean, typical to his house, he gets to the point where he's like, why do you even love me? Like, I'm a bad person. Like, stop it.
It's just so funny because she's like, I cannot stop giving you chances. You don't understand. I would love to. I'd love to, Damon. I'd love to walk away from this. I can't fucking do it, bro. I can't fucking do it. No matter what Damon does that's bad, he's got a little bit of the Stefan in him where he like atones for it. Like, he does something else that's really good to make up for it. He's not doing it purposefully.
No. And also he does it like for people. It's not for himself. It's for other people. I was going to say too, so Elena tells him when she's like going to sleep and she can't wake up until Bonnie dies. So it's going to be like 60 or 70 years before Damon gets to see her again. She tells him, you know, like, live your life. And the show actually, there's a scene in like season 8 where Damon, I don't think he actually has sex with her, but he like is really sad and gets drunk and like fucks around with some girl. And then Bonnie walks in and this girl's like half naked or whatever. And Damon's like guilty for another reason that I can't remember. Something else was going on. But Bonnie obviously thought it was because of the girl being there. And she was like, why do you think Elena told you to live your life? Like, she knew that we couldn't survive the next 70 years with like a sexless Damon. Like, Elena told you to go have sex. I would never. I would be like, you will wait for me. You will do nothing with that.
I like to think I also would be that. I feel like I'd probably say like, I want you to be happy, but don't do it. Like I'm saying it,
but don't do it
because I want you to think I'm a good person and everything. But don't.
I mean, Elena might have been that way a little because Damon was like extremely affronted that Bonnie would think
something about
he
Elena.
was like,
Elena's a manipulative little bitch.
I know. Damon was like to Bonnie was like, I am not a cheater, especially after only a year. I would never. Like, he was
okay. But to me, I think Elena's manipulation goes over people's heads, and it's so funny to me. Like, it was so clear.
She's emotionally intelligent. Like, it's Captain Hook like manipulation.
It is when I forget exactly what this is. Like what season or whatever. What like season? It's when.
What is it? Explain it.
I think it's Silas.
Okay.
It's when Stefan doesn't remember everything.
Oh, okay.
And she's trying to get him to remember things. Yeah. And they get her ass into that cabin.
He thinks they're dating.
He gets her ass. Yeah, I know.
He's like, wait, you're with my brother? And she's like, yeah, did I not?
And she's like, well, you don't have to be like mad about it. She's like, it's okay to just like pine for me. That's what the old Stefan would have done. It's just, you don't. It's not obvious. Like, Catherine's always walking around like, I'm sexy and sultry, and whatever.
You're right.
Elena, it's underhanded.
You know, it's in the back of her head that she was like, I can make Stefan remember me because Stefan loves me. Like, you know,
She's so upset when he acts like he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's like, whatever. I don't care. I don't even care that I don't care. And she's like, it's not you, Stefan. Stefan would never not love me.
But not in a Catherine way, right?
No, like, it's not. It's very Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Because she's keeping it to herself. She doesn't just lay it all out there for everyone to know, like, yeah, bitch, I want them all to love me. Like, she's keeping it quiet. I don't even know if she knows it half the time. There's plenty of characters. There's plenty of times Gryffindors get put in their place, usually by a character like Hook, like by another Gryffindor like that, where they'll be like, please, do you not see what you're doing right now? Like, you want them both to love you.
Well, I think Caroline does it a little bit.
She knows it all the time.
So, but yeah. And she does, and I mean, you're right. I think Caroline goes to her and asks for permission to date Stefan, which Elena's like, yeah, like, of course, like, I'm not dating Stefan anymore. But it's
she's like, I'm not currently with him.
I was going to say, currently. I was like, but you know, she has this quiet confidence that she's like, yeah, I will always be there.
Elena never has to worry about anything with Caroline because Caroline's like very she's second to her. Like it's sad.
Yeah.
But
Caroline knows it.
She knows it, and she's the one always bitching about it. And Elena's very nice about it. But Elena's also like, but I probably really am that bitch. I'm just not going to say it to her because I don't want to hurt her feelings.
Right.
But everyone did love me first. Like, you went after Matt and then Stefan. And then another 200 years if Elena was asleep, would it be Damon? I don't know. I'm just saying, Elena's kind of that bitch, okay? I have to tell you, did not give a fuck about Elena the first time either. Really? It was like,
I love
she's
Elena.
Fine. Yeah. She's fine. I was like, she's okay. She didn't annoy me, right? She didn't bother me. But she was just like kind of there.
Yeah.
Something on this watch shifted, man. She was like my favorite character.
Because you were watching her as a Gryffindor? Like you were thinking about it?
I don't know. I mean, she was pretty obviously Gryffindor, like from the jump.
I think so. Yeah.
Stefan's probably the one that would have given me trouble, if not for a couple of like really key things. But Elena is not hard. She like kind of yells it at you. But I remember thinking like, oh, she's kind of like self-righteous and annoying about everything. And I think it was like a very more of like an immature brain, because this is like 10 years ago.
Right.
I was like 20 or something.
Right.
And I don't know, as an older person now, as a geriatric woman, I was like, no, she's actually just really compassionate, like genuinely. She's really trying to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. No one ever deserves it. It's almost like Buffy a little bit, like how she just...
seriously, when the Klaus and Caroline stuff is going really heavy, and Caroline at the same time is being a bitch to Elena about dating Damon, Elena doesn't say anything about Caroline being in this class shit, except when Caroline goes too hard on her, and then she's like, hypocrite alert, like cut it out, like you know.
Yeah, she lets a lot slide that bothers me. I remember what really bothered me when Bonnie was really mad at her for having Jeremy compelled to leave.
Yes,
I was like, who the fuck are you? It's her brother. Shut up. Like, why? And she's like in the crypt, and they're doing this like thing for Caroline. It's Karen's birthday. Yeah. And Bonnie's being a bitch to Elena, and Elena was just like, ooh, okay. Like literally that was her reaction to it. She wasn't
she's like, it's my brother. I did what I thought was best for him. Like,
I can totally understand why you don't like it.
You're an 18-year-old dating a 15-year-old. Like, calm down. Like, you know, like
yeah. She's like, I didn't say shit when you wanted to date him.
Yeah.
Which I could have made real weird for you. I didn't. It's very like, oh my God, I don't know. I think it's just because I'm older now, and I feel this way in my own life where I'm like, I give everyone so much grace. If you don't give it back, like, I don't give a fuck. I can forgive you anything, all your bad behavior, all your dumb shit, whatever. It's cool, man. Shit happens. But if I don't get it back, now I'm starting to get like real mad. Like, you start to really piss me the fuck off. And it makes me mad for characters like that. It makes me really mad for Elena that she never like hits back, I guess. But so she doesn't want to.
We're forgetting we've got to talk about like the biggest Gryffindor thing she's done, which actually reminds me of another Stefan thing that I want to bring up real quick. Okay. When Rebecca's got them sitting around the table and she's kind of torturing them, and she's like, Stefan, what if I compelled you to forget all about Elena? And Stefan was like, yeah, do it. Like immediately he was like, yeah, get it out of my head.
Yeah.
No, but when Damon dies, Elena goes to Alaric and she has him compel her to forget that she loves Damon. Right. And her reasoning is that she cannot go on knowing that she had this love and lost it. She's very she thinks it over. She's very sincere in that I physically cannot survive the rest of my life knowing that I've had this love and that I will not have it again.
Totally get that. I'd rather die. Die.
I was sitting there watching her do this as a Slytherin, and
you don't get it?
Damon's also not a Gryffindor, and his response to what she did is the exact same response that I had. I would never forget the person who was my I would never. You'd have to rip it beating from my brain.
No, whoever the fuck, whatever old white man said it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. That's wrong. That's wrong. Because one of the biggest Elena moments to me, just as like also an emotionally psychotic Gryffindor, was her breakdown about Jeremy. where she like literally cannot catch her breath. She's like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna fucking die. I gotta set it all on fire or die. Tell me which one you want. Do I set it all on fire? I'll set the whole neighborhood on fire, or I'll die. Pick one. Pick one. Like, she's freaking the fuck out and just like about to rip her hair out. Like, that is what she'd have to live like if she remembered Damon and then Damon died and she lost it. Why do you want my girl to live like that? She can't. She can't, bro. We're just too emotionally unstable for that. So I really get that. Take it away, baby. Take it away. Zap my brain. It never happened. You were never here. Oh, so sad. I'm 100 years old and I've never been in love.
I don't know. I would have like, because she didn't even like wait, right, to see if there was any, like, she was like, can't do it. Can't live with this feeling. Get rid of it.
Yeah. No.
Well, and I guess, so the thing is that she did get to a point pretty quickly where she was like, I do want to remember Damon. And I think this was after Damon came back.
Oh, she got a little closure?
No, I can't remember. I think it was after Damon came back, where they were like, this is Damon, you love him. And she's like, this is Stefan's dick brother. He's killed like 50 people. What are you talking about? but then like the more, like, she can't help it that she starts feeling something for Damon. So then she goes back to, like, she wrote a journal entry to herself where she was like, if you ever feel like you want to, like, remember Damon again, like, blah, 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 blah. But it was just, like, the way she set it up was just very Gryffindor. And then Alaric wasn't a vampire anymore, and he couldn't uncompel her. So she was stuck like that, and they had to do it the right way, which is that Damon had to keep, like, trying to remind her of these things. It was also very Gryffindor. So this was the point when all of the magic got sucked out of Mystic Falls. So you could walk over the border, and then you wouldn't be compelled anymore. But because Elena is a vampire, her body is fueled by magic, so if she walks over the border, she also starts drowning again immediately. But you saw this. So she was yes. She was like, no, I want to remember. So she walked over the border. It was like drowning, but remembering
she's
David.
Fucking hilarious. Yeah. Well, because you'd get mad at yourself, right? Like, so I can play this out. I can figure.
Right. And
I lose the love of my life, take it away.
In the face of this man who is like, no, I really love you. And all her memories are like, I fucking hate you. Like, how is this happening?
It's really funny. It's like you are spiting yourself at that point. Like, okay, well, I'll literally drown myself now to get back the memories that I decided I don't want. Okay. Like, I'm only spiting me, my favorite kind. It's fucking completely ridiculous. But I really, really get her. Something else I was talking to George about, where he was like, why is she burning the house down? Like, just leave the house. What if
she's getting rid of all the memories
shit there that she wants?
She doesn't.
What do you mean if there's shit that she wants?
Nothing.
You'd have to fucking lobotomize me. It's burn the house down. Or it can't exist anymore. You don't understand. People don't be getting it. It's all right. No, we get each other.
Leading up to that, too, where she was in denial about the fact that Germany was actually dead.
Yeah.
Like, the body was decomposing in the bedroom.
You can smell it, Elena.
Yeah, right. She's like, no, he's coming back. He's coming back.
It's fucking ridiculous. She suffered a lot of loss.
Yeah, she did.
A lot of loss. And
it was, like, in front of her, right? Like, her parents drowned in front of her. Klaus snapped
her mother burns herself alive in front of her bitch-ass mother. Nice. And then she had the quintessential Gryffindor moment. I told Lauren this a couple weeks ago. Sometimes we get our mom comes back to us, and it's not really our mom. It's like a supernatural lie where they're like, no, you should kill yourself. You're like, you are worthless. And you're like, mommy, no. And they're like, honey, yes, jump into the water, die, you suck. It happened to Elena. And it's like so sad because Elena's mom really did love her, but she's seeing her be like, no, kill yourself. I don't know why it happens to Gryffindors. I was just thinking about Dean, and I was like, oh my God, how many times did his mother come back and tell him he was a piece of shit? Like, and it wasn't really his mother. It was like Zachariah or someone fucking with him. Well, also, I don't know why they do that to us.
The whole storyline where she's the only reason that Klaus can make the hybrids or whatever. So she's constantly like bringing herself to the brink of death to make Klaus like cut out what he's doing or whatever. She stabs herself in the stomach at one point right in front of him because she's like,
I think I sent you the TikTok a while ago where she finds out about their father.
Yeah.
And it's that sound, it's that guy that does all the TVD TikToks, and he's like, Elena, when she found out about Klaus's father, I've had about enough of you. Don't make me call Portia. Because when she has something over Klaus's head, she's like, maybe call your dad. I know all about it. She's so funny, man. She has absolutely no problem like getting in a vampire's face and being like, fuck you, bitch. And like she fights, man. She tries to fight.
She does.
She's a little twig of a nothing, and she still is like, I'm gonna stab you.
She made Catherine a human. Like she gets out of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. That was bitchy, Elena. It was deserved.
What's up?
I said it was deserved.
Oh yeah.
It was bitchy but deserved. Yeah. It was a baller move. She like I heard a lot of people saying Elena had no business being a vampire. Like, why? Like, she really didn't. But like, even as a human, she was in the shit. Like, she was
the only reason she didn't have any business being a vampire is because she didn't want to be.
Right.
Like, like, and she was doing fine as a human. Like, she wasn't,
And she wasn't having the Bella Swan complex, like the Slytherin complex of like, I'm gonna get old. And then what's gonna happen?
No, she was like,
I'm gonna get old, and then that's it.
She was confident in the fact that Stefan would stay with her, and then with Damon, obviously, she was like, "Well, you become human if you're so concerned about this."
Right.
And then, that was extremely Gryffindor of her too. When Damon was like, "Okay, I will become human," she was like, "You don't mean that. You're not actually going to enjoy that. Like, I need you to really be sure. I need you to really be sure before you become human."
I do not understand any of them. Like Rebecca, like the whole wanting to be human thing. Very weird. Yeah. Very weird. But she's another story for another episode.
Damon.
I think it's time to talk about Damon.
It is time to talk about Damon.
Who Lauren is like the president of the Damon fan club. So if you don't like him, you should leave now.
Get out. Get out. He's my boyhood idol.
So impulsive and like
reckless. But like not really, because people call him that. Well, yes and no. Damon is I will do the thing that feels right in the moment, and it's okay that I do it because it'll work out later because I make it work out. Mm-hmm. Not because I've actually done the right thing, but because I'm like, okay, I've done this, and now we need to move forward and make that be the right thing that just happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's constantly...
so he fits it to make it fit whatever he needs to.
Yes. Oh God, yes. He's
resourceful.
Constantly like that. Like he rips out a vamp's chest, and then somebody is like, okay, well now I have Bonnie and I'm gonna kill Bonnie, and he's like he's like, okay, roadblock that we have to solve. Like, unfortunate, which is why everybody around him is like, we really hate Damon, because he puts other people in danger, or because he constantly says, like, I will do a bad thing for the right reasons. He does not give a shit. Like,
if I needed a problem solved and you told me I could call one character from Vampire Diaries,
it was Damon.
It would be Damon.
Salvage. He's like, I don't care that I gave the super bad guy the super big weapon that will open up the gates of hell, because doing so saved Bonnie's life. Like, hello. He actually has a line that I think is so quintessential to his character, where I can't remember who he's talking to. It might be Stefan, it might be Elena. But they're constantly on him, like, can't you make better choices? Like, I know you can be a good person, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, look, I don't care if everybody sees me as the bad guy, because I have to be the bad guy in order to make shit happen. He's like, I am the only one willing to let everybody hate me in order for you all to live. And I don't care if you all hate me, because you're all alive to hate me. Like, I literally...
So that's really... So he's a Slytherin. Yes. And that's very his house. Because there are other characters that are put in that position and have lines so similar to that in other shows where they'll be like, okay, fine, you want me to be the bad guy? I'll be the fucking bad guy. And they say stuff like that. They're not saying it the way David means it.
But they don't like being the bad guy. Yeah.
They don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want you to look at them like that. And in fact, they're, quite often like Ravenclaws or Gryffindors who are lunatics about it. The Slytherin very, very seriously is telling you, like, I'd rather you hate me the rest of your life if you have a life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool with me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want. I want you to be alive. Like, even if you want it to be dead, I don't care. You're stupid. I want you to live. He has no problem overriding anybody's, like, wants, I guess, or like what they what they want
like
for
their
themselves.
free will choice or whatever.
Which
He does this constantly
know.
with Stefan and Elena. That Stefan is like, I respect Elena's choice, and Damon's like, if that choice leads to death, she can't do it. Like, she's not allowed. Sorry.
Right, but that's I guess that's another Ravenclaw Gryffindor overlap too, with that like taking away someone's choice thing.
Right.
It like kills Elena to compel Jeremy. She doesn't want to fucking do it. She really doesn't want to do it. She doesn't like taking people's choices away at all. Damon's like, who cares? It's going to save his life. Like, why
Damon's
are
like,
none of you concerned about saving lives?
Like, you can have a choice if you make the right choice. You're not making the right choice. So I will make the choice. Damon, I feel, is a very, very, very good example of a Slytherin. He's not like a They Live Among Us Slytherin like Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker is, but he's a very, if I was like, this is what a Slytherin looks like, I could point to Damon with like the added caveat that he is a vampire and therefore murders people. Damon Salvatore has room for two people in his heart. One of them is Stefan, and it will always be Stefan. The second one starts as Catherine Pierce. He loves Catherine. Catherine doesn't really love him, but Damon loves Catherine. He knows that she's a vampire. He wants to be a vampire and spend the rest of her life with her. When she dies and he's in transition, does not want to be a vampire. Like I said, Stefan forced him. So it's for Catherine. He learns that Catherine is alive, stuck in a tomb, and he has to wait 100 and something years before a comet comes by and he can let her out again. So he's like, all right, I'm going to wait that 100 something years. And he fucks around, but he is always waiting for Catherine. And when it is time to show up at Mystic Falls with the stupid fucking rock to open up the fucking tomb for Catherine, he is there to do it. Does not give a shit what anybody else is doing. He's there for Catherine. He loves Catherine. They open the tomb. Catherine's not there. She is dead to him. He will never think about her again.
So I gotta tell you, that was my longest running like thing that I loved about Damon. Okay, I kept waiting because it's very stereotypical of a show for
him to be like tempted by her or whatever,
right? And you have a character who's like who starts to tempt you, and they just give in, right? Because they're so emotionally like, oh, I did
invested
love you once.
And
Catherine gets in his face. And she's like so hot about it. And she's like, oh, but we could blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, eat
I'd rather be
glass
dead.
and fucking choke and die. And he never wavers from it. He's like, you weren't in the fucking tomb? You're lying, bitch. I can't get those 100 years back. Goodbye. Like, in fact, I'm going to love the one that looks like you because she's better than you. Like, he's so upset about it. But like, he just lets it go. Like, it's very, maybe here's the Gryffindor overlap with your house. If we turn it off to you, it's fucking off. It's off, bro. I'm not turning it back on. Like, if you hurt me like that, like, she hurt him fucking bad. He turned it off.
His entire life was devoted to her, essentially, and, like, keeping her alive. And she was not waiting for him. He didn't have
a big-ass tantrum about it. He didn't make a big to-do about it. He didn't, like, hunt her down to question her. He didn't need closure. Nothing. He said, bitch, bye.
She showed up on the porch. She showed up on the porch, and he thought it was Elena, and he thought he kissed Elena, and he learned that it was Catherine, and he was like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And that's, it pretty immediately switches to Elena as the second person. And it's so interesting in the period of time when Damon loves Elena, but she's with Stefan, because Damon loves both of them a lot. And he's not, It never turns into a thing where Damon's like, I'm going to steal Elena from you. And I felt that like he just, it's like he purely loves her and he wants, and yes, it's unfortunate that this will hurt Stefan, but that's part of Damon's like self-centeredness that he's like, well, this is my, this is mine. Like, she's mine. Yeah. I'm sorry. And, he does. So in season 2, and this was the scene that killed 16-year-old me, when he has to tell her he loves her and then he compels her to forget that he told her that.
Yeah.
And he describes it as something selfish when he's like, this is the most selfish thing that I will ever do, that I need to tell you that I love you and that I'm going to take that away, which I actually think was really like generous of him.
Do you get that? I don't get it.
Yeah, I do.
What was the point?
Mean?
Seriously.
What do you mean? Oh, it was for him. It was, which is why he calls it selfish. It was only for him.
Head.
It was only
like, why did you need? But I'm saying I don't understand the need to do that.
He needed her to know. He needed her to, well, she heard it. He needed her to know, even it was like 5 seconds. It was 5 seconds. She knew that he loved her and they existed. And
that's fucking wild.
He fucking kept that in his head, man. Like that 5 seconds where Elena knew that he loved her was like his thing.
That's
for the
truly
next
bonkers.
year. I promise you that he was just holding on to that.
I don't get it.
I get it. I totally get it.
And I get
it's gone. Because any other person would be like, that was actually really nice of him that he's not messing with their relationship, right? But he says it's selfish, and he's right because it was only for him. It was purely for him.
Okay, sure. Literally, by definition, it's a selfish act, but it's not maliciously selfish. It does nothing.
No, it wasn't maliciously.
It doesn't take anything away from someone.
He thinks it is because he's like,
well, he's stupid. So,
Yes.
He's so dumb when it comes to like feelings and emotions. He is so stunted.
Well, I mean, his relationship with Stefan is so fucked. Like, can you blame him? He he is really bad. And he's got the Slytherin, like I kept telling Rachel that when they were doing this to him, where it was like they would keep coming back and being like, obviously Stefan is the better person. Like, how could Elena love you? And it gets in his head. He like believes it. He's like, I know. He's like, I believe it. I'm not totally sure why Elena would choose me over Stefan.
It becomes fact to him.
Yeah, it does.
It's not like something. I guess you can see it too. Like, I guess I have to compare a little bit to Dean and Sam sometimes because the other show that we love about brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can see Dean's Gryffindor ass being like, yeah, I know Sammy's better than me. Like,
right.
I get it. So maybe there's like an overlap there where I understand it. Because I don't think either house is resentful of it. I don't think Damon resents Stefan for it at all.
No.
He's just a fact.
It's definitely fact to him that he is like, because again, we said this earlier. I think Damon equates being good with the fact that Stefan wants to atone for things. Mm-hmm. Damon doesn't necessarily want to atone for things because he always feels that he did the right thing. You know, like, yes, sometimes he has moments where he kills people because he's bored or whatever, but those don't stick with him, you know? like he does, like, the reason that he starts to feel bad about that stuff is because he loves Elena, and Elena is like, that wasn't, like, Elena is his moral compass. Like, literally when Elena is asleep, Damon is like, I have to be good because I don't want to upset Elena when she wakes up. And other people use this on him too. They're like, ooh, Damon, if you kill them, think about what Elena will think. Like, will she even love you anymore? Like, they're using that on him constantly. And he's like, you're right. Like, I have to be good for Elena. Like, I have to live up to Elena's expectations. And he says, I'm a better person with Elena because of Elena. Elena has to be there for me to be a good person. Otherwise, I just don't know.
It's funny. I don't remember when we talked about this, but we were sure not to say it like on recording, where we were comparing him to, it was after the True Blood recording. We were comparing him to Spike and Eric because now we've had 3 Slytherin vampire men.
Yeah. They're very different, all of them.
He's like right in the middle of Eric and Spike.
I would say so.
So that's fucking interesting because Eric and Spike are both hilarious, awesome characters, but they're both too much. Like, they're too much of what they are. Okay, like they're like it's crazy. Like Spike gives way too much about your house away. He's just out here telling everybody.
He's out here telling everybody the secrets. I'm like, Spike,
and
you gotta stop.
Eric gives away nothing. And Damon's like fucking smack in the middle about it. And he has these moments where I was like, there was, what was it? Oh, the moment I did not think he was going to come back from was when he snapped Jeremy's neck.
Yeah, okay, that happens really quickly too.
But the way my jaw hit the floor, bro. He was like,
but you said he was like, yeah, he was wearing the ring. It's fine.
But he didn't.
But you know what? But he was. So he just is like, let's get past that. He's not.
Well, he admits it later.
So,
he was like, because Elena was like, it's really important that you just at least tell me the truth. Did you know he had the ring? And he was like, fine, no. Yeah. And she's like, cool, you're a fucking dick. And he's like, yeah.
I will never forgive
Move on.
You. And he's like, yeah.
And he's like, no. Yeah, you will.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I told you the truth, so we're getting there. But
it's not like he's ever going to give up. He doesn't care if you hate him. That's the thing. That's the wild thing about the men of your house.
Well,
they don't care.
I was going to say too. No, they don't. And I also think Damon is on a level convinced, which I don't blame him for believing. He's on a level convinced that he can always work his way back. I think I've said so many times how close the line between love and hate is, and that's all a Slytherin moves between. Like, we don't have the middle where we're like, like that's just indifference, and this person does not matter to me in the slightest.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that he sees other people that way, where he's like, okay, well, if you hate me, that's the first step to loving me. Because so many times he does this with Bonnie. Like they do this thing at the end. I don't know that I believe this just because the show fucking says it either, but they get to the point where they're like, Bonnie and Damon are best friends because they spent that time in the prison world together, and then they do get a lot closer, and their relationship is a lot better, but they keep calling it best friends, and I don't know if I believe that.
Their houses make sense for
they
becoming
do,
close.
but I don't. She's definitely not one of Damon's people, because what
Probably
happens
not.
is Bonnie and Elena's lives are linked. So everybody is immediately afraid that Damon is going to snap Bonnie's neck so Elena will wake up again, including Bonnie, including Damon. Damon is like, I might do it sometimes, even though Bonnie is supposedly his best friend at that point. He's like, I might do it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
it's nice that they...
But they do,
we're
like,
friendly.
they do, him and Bonnie constantly move back and forth between Bonnie's like, I hate you, you're my best friend, or whatever. Because of that thing I was telling you about, Bonnie is the one who gets really mad at him for going to sleep in the coffin for 3 years. Because he wrote her an extremely nice letter and left it for her instead of saying goodbye in person. And she was really fucking pissed about that, even though she'd been telling him that he was awful all season and that he wasn't helping anybody. And and then when he came back, she was like, my life was so much better without you. But she, yeah. And Damon is always like, I do not care that you hate me, because you can tell that he always knows that they're going to be besties again. Like he just continues calling her his best friend when she's like, I fucking want you dead. So
it's like the whole thing with him and Alaric. We talked about it a little bit, where Alaric is straight up like, you have pissed me off. You have pushed me to the limit so much. I'm so mad at you. Like he literally says to Damon in the bar, he's like, I don't like you anymore. You are so annoying. Leave me alone. We're not friends. Mm-hmm. And Damon's like, for now, whatever, fine. Be mad for now. Just like call me when you're over it.
He's like,
I miss my friend.
But also, he just continues to treat Alaric exactly as he would.
Exactly the same. It's bad shit. It's bad shit. It's like his brother with that shit. Like, well, I can come back anytime. Like,
almost, but Damon's not like, I'm not pressing pause. I'm just gonna keep playing until you're back where I want you.
He doesn't press pause. He doesn't give you a minute to fucking breathe.
Nope.
He's like, you'll love me again.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yeah, I was telling Rachel. So Rachel didn't see this. Stefan and Damon's mom comes back, and the horrible thing that their mom does is she's dying of consumption, and their dad is abusive and like hates his wife, and their mom knows he's abusive.
Giuseppe.
So tried to get away from him.
What's
Giuseppe.
her name?
Fucking what is it?
Something Italian.
Lily. I think it's Lily. It is Lily.
It's not Italian.
Well, she doesn't have to be Italian. She could have been American. I don't know. Giuseppe was Salvatore. Her last name, I don't know what her maiden name was.
You're right.
She was
Lillian.
Lillian. Yeah, she was also Enzo's sire, and then Enzo was in love with her, so it was weird and gross. Anyway, I
can see how she's Damon's mother. She looks like him.
Yeah, she doesn't. She look like him.
Yeah, but Damon and Stefan don't look related at all. It's weird casting.
No. But anyway, so she's abusive. She has consumption. Her husband sends her away to die, and she gets turned there. And instead of going back and fetching her children from her abusive husband, she runs off and creates a new family. She literally turns people into vampires, and then they're part of her family. And then she admits that she knew that Damon and Stefan were turned into vampires, and she stayed as far away from them as possible.
Okay.
So like I said, Stefan forgives her. He takes some work. He's not super easy, but he does end up forgiving her. Damon is like, I do not. He has a whole conversation with Stefan where he's like, this bitch left us and knew that we were being abused and never came back and made a new family and loves that family. And she put Elena in a coffin. She was the one who gave Kai the spell that put Elena to sleep or whatever. Damon was like, I will never, ever forgive her. And frankly, I don't know how you can. I fucking hate her. And he tells her to her face, like constantly. She's like, what did I ever do to you? Like, what? And he's like, I fucking hate you. I hope you die. Like, he's like telling her. So she ends up dying. She ends up dying trying to save she does save his life, but she dies for a stupid reason. She stabs herself because she thinks it'll kill the bad guy, but it doesn't because they unlinked him. So she just ends up stabbing herself. So, so everybody is like, and it's a slow death. So everybody is showing up to like say goodbye to her and be like, it's okay, all the bad shit you did, like, because she did some bad stuff to her new family too or whatever. So Stefan was like, Damon, like, do you want to come say something? Like, now's your chance to have closure or whatever. And Damon's the last one to speak to her. She's really close to dying. And he leans over her fucking deathbed and goes, you've made your bed. Enjoy lying in it. And then she dies.
Get her.
And the show does this whole stupid thing where there's like a magical, mystical thing that puts you through hell, but hell is like the worst decision, like regret you've ever made. So they make Damon's the fact that he like never told his mom how he felt and like brought himself to forgive her or whatever, which I think is forced because
I'm going to agree with you. I didn't say it, but I agree.
No. Because even when he goes through this or whatever, he still never like expresses the regret to anybody
I don't think he would regret that.
No, I don't think he does. I really don't. I think because the other thing that this mystical thing was doing was trying to convince Stefan and Damon that they were better off without one another and that they needed to like be without each other, which also isn't true and the actual moral of the entire show. So right? I don't believe it. He was totally cool with telling his mom that. Stefan went back to him constantly and was like, how could you do that? Like, isn't that a burden on your soul? And Damon was like, no, because as I said, constantly, I fucking hate her.
Yeah. Oh, that gives me the same satisfaction as Simon from Bridgerton.
Right.
Just like when the dad's on his deathbed, like, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Back
I will
just to tell him, I will never have a child
fuck.
with your name. Like, never.
God, if
your family line dies with you.
If a scene could imprint on your brain like the culottes imprint on people in Twilight, that scene's imprinted on my brain. That was the greatest moment of all time in cinema. Fucking get him again for me. Oh my God. It sounds like Damon had a moment that I would have also loved to have seen. So I may go back and just watch that.
I made it through season 6 and then Elena was gone and it was tough.
Yeah.
But actually once I managed to pick up again, it was pretty easy. So
well, you love Damon. I don't see how
I do love Damon. And they did a really, really good job of pivoting to make the show about like the brothers in like not a contrived way.
Right.
It was about their relationship and it was really good. Paul Wesley is a fucking hilarious, good actor. So that was interesting to see.
I gotta get on this close friends list. I don't know how to do it.
It's like Patreon. You gotta pay like $1 or something.
And I'd like to ask, I'd like to get on the other one, Ian Somerhalder's too, because he's full of shit, man. Every time I see him answer a question about Stefan, Elena, and Damon, he's like, I always really like Stefan with Elena. Liar. He had a whole thing. I don't know if you saw this one where he was like, Damon was a really bad person, guys. He did like really bad shit and you just forgave him. It's like, yeah, dude, he was a vampire. And he's also a black and white character. He's a morally gray character, like all vampires are. What do you want from the supernatural creature of the night? I don't get it. Like, you can't hold vampires to these moral standards. No. You just simply cannot.
Mm-mm.
It's why I love them so much. I don't know what to tell you.
They're so interesting.
They are very, very interesting.
It's that time of year where I'm like, I should read Midnight Sun again.
Hell yeah, you should. I actually saw Interview with the Vampire, got picked up for season 2.
Yeah.
I may watch it now. I don't know if I've told the masses. Lestat is my favorite fictional character of all time. Like across literature, movies, TV, everything, he's my favorite. And he's in this show, but I've seen that it's moved away from the canon of what Anne Rice wrote, so I've been kind of a bitch about it, where I'm like, I don't want to watch it. It's not exactly what I read when I was 7, and I shouldn't have been reading about these vampires fucking in France when I was 7. But I was, because nobody monitored my shit. So, I want the story I remember. But I don't know. I'll give it a shot. It's that time. You're right. It's that time of the year to just, let all these morally gray people
live. Just live their lives.
Just let them live. Man, October is going to be over soon, and then everyone can go back.
Well, actually, we're doing Good Omens next month, so we get a bit of that again.
True that. That's another one that you're going to hear me bitch a little bit about. That goes off canon. You hear me bitch a little bit about it.
I have to. I haven't seen any of it. And you have to watch season 2, right?
Really. So there's a phenomenon that's been happening to me the last couple of years of my life, where something that was my favorite is getting it becomes mainstream. And it started with All Too Well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then it happened. Then she did Witch a Cruel Summer. Okay, and then it's happened with Interview with the Vampire, and now Good Omens. Good Omens was my favorite book. Like, no one ever knew what the fuck Good Omens was. I talk to people about it all the time. They're like, I didn't know what that is. Even though Neil Gaiman's very popular, I'm not saying he's like some underground author. This is some underground book. It's just that people that I know never knew what the fuck I was talking about. And all of a sudden now, I see people on Twitter. They're like, I tried reading it, and they're not together in the book. It's like really hard to get through. Listen to me. That's not a hard book to get through. It's a perfect book. It's a fucking perfect book, okay? Don't fucking... Let's not do that. Why don't you just appreciate that Neil Gaiman said, sure, let them be in love, and just appreciate it. Don't besmirch my book. But it just keeps happening to me, bro. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like... And then I have to go through this period where I'm like, oh, I liked it before it was cool. And I hate that more than anything. So I don't say anything. Right. And then I feel whack as shit. People are like, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song? It's All Too Well. Fuck. God damn it. It was before. Before she pretended she had a 10-minute version in the vault. She did not. She wrote that like a year ago or two. God damn it, Taylor. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, anyway, my personal problems aside. This wraps up vampire season, but it does not wrap up.
Do we? I was going to say, season. Do we even? No, we're going to do True Blood again, probably early next year before we forget it. Probably this show too, early next year before we forget it. We'll do the originals. We'll find some other vampire shit. There must be something out there that we haven't consumed. We'll probably,
honestly, we might as well do Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah. What We Do in the Shadows.
You can hear me talk about
my
Lestat.
list forever.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it, but did you not like the movie or the show?
The show.
Because I hear they're very different.
They are. Both sucked to me.
No, okay. Well then.
I don't know. Again, you never know, man. Like, we're talking about Vampire Diaries today. There were moments I hated and characters I did not like that now I'm like, shh, it's my guy. Love that guy. Like, we grow, we change. Who knows? But yeah, I'm actually in a very weird space where I'm like ready for Christmas.
Wow.
I think I put my Halloween stuff up too early.
I was going to say, you did that on your birthday, and that seemed a little early for you.
It was early for me. Every year I try to push it.
I know. Well, now you know you've gone too far. You've gone too far.
Yeah, because like now it's October, and I'm like, I've had these cobwebs everywhere since August. It's time for Santa. So we'll see. Fucking Home Goods is coming out with shit. I can't.
Oh, I saw stuff at CVS today that got Christmas candy out.
I love Halloween. I'm a Halloween bitch for life, but I'm really excited about Christmas this year. Just the feeling of it. And everyone's saying there's going to be snow again. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Please.
Climate change miracle.
Please.
Even though we won't see each other on Christmas.
I know. That sucks.
It's very sad.
And we'll never see each other again.
Never again. You'll never get the present I've had since June.
You buy shit way too early.
No, I buy shit when I find something perfect.
You buy shit because it's on sale. Shut up.
No.
She's funny.
How dare you?
She's funny.
How dare you?
All right. Thank you for listening.
Next is Marvels, the Marvels. So
next is Good Omens, girl.
No, it's the Marvels.
No.
Yes.
It's Good Omens.
No.
That's what the calendar said.
It's not. I changed it because the Marvels comes out November 11th. A while ago.
No, you...
I'm just going to go look right now.
I am looking at it. It says Good Omens is next.
It's the Marvels, though.
Up. You're wrong. It said it. It said Good Omens next.
Okay, well, but that's not true because the Marvels comes out. Wait, hang on. When's the next Tuesday?
In 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, you're right. Because the Marvels comes out the 11th. Okay, fine. It is Good Omens.
Okay.
Wow, I have to watch a whole ass TV show.
It's only 2 seasons. I don't think there's a lot of episodes. I don't remember.
Okay, well. We should start Gen V. But we have to do the second part of...
Let's get off this because Hannah's going to kill us.
She's going to kill us.
I thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you for Good Omens next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, Please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!